Hi there, and good afternoon for those that are in Europe, just like I am. The first thing you notice today, it is just me. Ron is not here today. Believe it or not, but he is in Manchester. And if you're following our show for a bit, you will definitely know that he is a big Manchester United fan ever since. That is not the reason why he's there. I don't even know if he can combine his visit with a Man United game. We will find out next week because then he's going to join us again. Maybe he's going to tell you more about his little trip. This means a couple things. First of all, the show is going to be a bit shorter because we don't have the back and forth that Ron and I typically have. And also, I would encourage you, if you have some sort of comment, question, put it in the chat box, and I will try to keep an eye on it and try to answer your questions and comment on your comments. Besides that, as always, we do have five news for you, like always. And let me quickly bring up the first one here. Wait a sec. Here we go. Topic number 5 for today is an investment round. Players Health has raised 28 million in their latest funding round, and it's a company that has been a bit under the radar, I would say, but latest with this news, they are on the radar. So what did they do? It's basically two things. First of all, as the name already tells you, it is a company that is focused on the health side of things. And for them, that means two different things. First of all, it is the health of the athletes, obviously. If you click on their website and go to their solutions, they have two segments. It's athletes safety. And that means a bunch of different things. And if you read the first sentence here, you already know which direction it is taking and why it is a very relevant solution, unfortunately. They say there is no place for hazing, bullying, and other forms of abuse in sports. So this is not only about I am injured, how can I recover in the best way? It is also about, do you have a coach that is properly trained, is background checked, and actually ready to train, for example, the athletes, the players, the kids in your club. It is also an opportunity for someone who has been the victim of abuse or other kinds of things that should not take place on our planet. This is a tool to report that abuse and for players' health and the people they're connected with to investigate a certain person. So it's an independent initiative organization that gives you an opportunity to report certain incidents. Unfortunately, in our times, still a topic. It's also about your coaches who might want to get better, how to educate them, how to train them, and classic, let's say, injury and risk management that you know from other apps as well. That is part one of the app. And part two is about insurance. So somewhere on the page, here it is. I found this sentence interesting. They basically say, lots of sports organizations are still insured like it's the late 90s, and times obviously have changed. So it's time to up your insurance game as well. And we all know that insurances are probably not amongst our favorite topics to talk about and to do research. They help you with this. They provide you with offers. They exactly show you what it means. So a really nice and interesting tool to help you, medical coverage, claims, independent brokers, all of that. So something, especially in, let's say, smaller clubs, people either don't have the time to do or are not trained to do, and often both. So an interesting way of also introducing insurance packages into sports. And that's, I guess, also why investors seem to like that approach, because it is a nice monetization angle, as we all know, to get a nice fee of, because you have successfully introduced an insurance company to a client, basically. So that is topic number one, product number one for today. Players Health, 28 million raise. Interesting company, more on the health insurance side of things. Nevertheless, very interesting one, as we think. The second topic of today is in a similar area. Similar not in what they do, but basically where they're coming from, because they're not coming from abuse or something like this. They come from an incident that happened in the Mexican football environment, the soccer environment. So there was a game that was a big scandal because the crowd once again misbehaved. There were some homophobic chants in the crowd, and that led to the result that the Mexican national team had to play a few games in empty stadiums without their crowd, for good reasons, obviously. But there are lots of people who know how to behave, who were punished with this. And of course, that is something that the Mexican Football Association and also the Liga MX, the Mexican Soccer League, wants to avoid. So what they have introduced now is a face recognition system it's called FanID, and they have introduced that across Liga MX and also for their national games, if I recall it correctly. So what you have to do when you go to the stadium, prior to that, you need to have your face scanned and you have to have your official ID. And if you don't have that, you don't get into the stadium. And the reason for that is pretty obvious, I think, because everybody who now, let's say, misbehaves would then, of course, be able to be identified. And I think that's a good thing to do. Of course, lots of people will ask questions regarding data security and all of that. And the article said that everything is stored safely. It's stored anonymously, so only in case there is an incident, they can check that. And I believe that the data is going to be deleted at some point as well. Just realized that there was a question from Rami. Thank you very much for the question. Does it work on esports tournaments? I'm not sure if that question is regarding topic number one or topic number two. For topic number one, I would say probably yes. I mean, if there is any misuse, you can still use that app. If there are coaches that need to be trained, they would need to have some special section for that, which I assume they have not yet, but technically you can also use that for esports. And I don't know how the insurance landscape looks like in esports. To be fair, I don't know if you can insure your thumb or whatever, but I can imagine that there are some products out there. So if the question was towards topic number one, I can totally see that. For topic number two, obviously, as well, if you go to an esports arena, I'm not aware of any incidents there, but technically you can use that as well. So I would say both topics could be covered for esports as well. I'm not sure if that helps you. If there's something that you mean specifically where you maybe have doubts or have a question, just let me know. But thanks for asking, Rami. Yeah, so that is facial recognition in Mexican football. So you're gonna be scanned, your face is gonna be checked, you have your official document there, and if you shout some nonsense from the ranks, they will get you, which is good. And I can totally see that in other stadiums, leagues, and countries as well. What else do we have today? We are moving on to the Tour de France, which is going to kick off again in July, I believe, or late June. It's always around that time, mostly July, I think. And yeah, this news maybe doesn't surprise you. The Tour de France is partnering with Strava, two big names in the cycling industry. But what they're actually doing is kind of interesting, because they will actually upload the riders' data into the Strava app. So you can see, and especially if you are also active in cycling, compare your data with the data of the pros. So I don't know, maybe you're in Europe, maybe you have tested those routes as well, and you have your data from those tracks. You can compare them directly, or you just sit there in disbelief of how fit these guys are. But it also will be interesting to see, or to compare the riders at the tour with each other, and to see when somebody is really struggling, and that I would look forward to. I did not see anything about a live stream, so that I'm not really sure about. So I would assume they potentially do that after one day is over. But I would really like to see that during they're actually on the bike and competing with each other. That would be interesting to see. Heart rates, if somebody's struggling, all of that. I think that would add some interesting, with an interesting data layer onto the stream there. The second thing is not only the male Tour de France tournament, it's also the female version. So for both of them, you can actually see the data, and that again will be another interesting comparison. So if you're a heavy Strava user, if you know your data and where you're good, where you're not so good at, that'll be really interesting to see how you compare to the pros. Yeah. Here I would typically ask Ron if he would use that, but I think he's never cycling. So don't tell him that I shared that with you, but he's never cycling. I don't understand it. It's so nice and convenient, especially here in Berlin. He never does it. Whatever. That was topic number 3. Maybe I'm going to ask him next week. And one advantage of him not being here is also that I can talk more about my favorite topic, which is NFTs. So I have reserved the 2 top topics for this week for NFTs, and he can not stop me this time. I'm not sure if he's going to check this episode, so maybe he will never find out. All right. The topic number 2, before we come to the main one, is about Liverpool FC, LFC Football Club. They have launched their first own NFT collection. And as you can see here, it's very colorful. It looks a bit like, has this comic style, and it's called the LFC Heroes Club. And what it is, it's a mix of different things. They have a broad range of NFTs from, I believe, 24 different players. And they are represented with some typical characteristics. You see Sadio Mane as a superhero, Klopp being a magician, and so on and so on. And you have those 24 players as unique, legendary, one-of-one NFTs that you can buy, and that also gives you some sort of access. And the access is that you are part of a, as they say, innovative fan community, which gives you access to a community forum, unique experiences, virtual hangouts, competitions, retail discounts, and so on and so on. So something that, let's say, all the blue chip NFT connections outside of sports do, and that can be summarized with one word, which is utility. Yeah, it's not about just selling NFTs anymore and then leave the people with their NFTs and hope that they'll be happy. These days, you have to equip an NFT with utility, and utility is exactly what I just mentioned. So if you can get some discounts at the LFC shop, if you have some, I don't know, guided stadium tour by one of the players or whatnot, that adds some extra value to the NFT, and that also leads to a situation where the NFT still gets resold later on in the secondary market, where the club obviously also gets some of that money as well. So that is already good. But what I really like about this is two other things, and they are also connected. Number one is they also have a LFC Foundation Hero NFT, which not covers the players from the club, but outstanding people who work in the club. And this is something to applaud, I think. So I don't know, whoever does a great job in and around Liverpool FC. I don't know, maybe it's the guy who takes care of the grass on the pitch. Maybe it's, I don't know, somebody working in the marketing department or whatnot. I don't know, or in the shop selling tickets, cleaning the facilities, something like this. So they have also picked people out of the club who they consider to be heroes. It's typically the ones that are not in the spotlight, that the outside world doesn't know. So they also get their dedicated cards. And I think this is a great idea, and it fits very well to Liverpool FC, I have to say. And the second part that I was referring to is that 50% of not sure if it's 50%, but a certain percentage of the sales of all what I just mentioned goes into the LFC Foundation, and the foundation obviously does good things in the community and around Liverpool. So what they're actually using this NFT drop for is also doing good things in and around the club, and that I like very much. And what other clubs and teams and leagues should potentially also use as a benchmark, I've written about this in the Nifty Sports newsletter a couple times, by the way, is that the rights holders typically go for player cards and highlight clips. It's just the two, but there's so much more you can do with NFTs, and there's so much more assets that you can use. And for example, using those comic style cards of the players is one of the options that a club has, and which doesn't fall into the existing rights that a club might have given away. So that I like a lot. Topic number one, the top topic for this week is also about NFTs, like I said, and it goes more into, let's say, the traditional field of player cards and highlight clips. And it's two news, actually. It's about Major League Soccer, and it's about WWE. Starting with Major League Soccer. They have signed an agreement with Sorare. That was about time, first of all, because, I see there is a chat message. Kuldeep is asking, what about this developing new software in sports, cricket, tennis, that can predict every single ball in the live match? This question comes out of nowhere, and it's not connected to the topics that we had here. So I would rather sideline that a little bit. It's very tricky. Then the question is how to monetize this, and probably you're gonna end up in the betting segment somewhere. That's what I. And then if it's for the viewer in front of whatever screen, the question is how would you embed it? When would they understand what's happening? So yeah, a bit tricky. Development intense and monetization wise, probably more in the betting angle. Okay, coming back to topic number one, Major League Soccer teaming up with Sorare, and I said it's about time because Sorare already had the players from the Major League Soccer, because they have signed an agreement with the Major League Soccer Players Association. So that was in place since, I think, 2 seasons already, if I'm not mistaken. So you were able to buy those players on Sorare, and maybe they still haven't changed it. But if you go on the Sorare page and look for Major League Soccer, it says MLSPA, so the Players Association, and they all wear neutral jerseys on those player cards that you play at it, because they didn't have the rights from the teams. They only had the names, image, likeness rights from the players. So player faces were there, but not the jerseys. They were neutral. Now they finally signed that agreement with MLS as well, not so surprising. So now you have the pretty faces and the pretty jerseys from all the players and can buy them and use them in Sorare's fantasy game. So that's why I said this was about time. And then we have the last news of the day, also from the NFT universe. WWE has signed a long-term sports platform partnership across e-commerce, licensed merchandise, trading cards, and NFTs. What does it mean? They're going to do a bunch of stuff together, which includes NFTs. But, and this was the interesting part, somewhere down here, let me find this here. Under the pact, later this year, Fanatics' next generation digital collectibles company, Candy Digital, will become one of WWE's primary NFT partners. We talked about it before. Fanatics is a majority shareholder in Candy Digital. Candy Digital has done a lot with MLB, and they are using Candy Digital for all the funky, fancy, new, cool NFT stuff with the leaks that they have. So this is basically their let's say department where they produce all of that stuff. And yeah, it seems like the WWE is gonna be the next property that they're gonna use in this area. The sentence that I marked also said will become one of WWE's primary NFT partners. So I'm curious what else they're gonna do and what is gonna be the difference between all of them. And I mean, the obvious one is, again, player cards, highlight clips. I'm not getting tired to say that, but for example, the Candy Digital had a deal with the MLB where they were using the championship rings, the stadiums of the league, all of that. So Candy Digital has actually done what I was referring to when talking about Liverpool FC before. They have been using a broad range of properties for NFTs and not just the obvious ones. So let's see what Candy Digital will come up with the WWE. And it was topic number one, top topic of the week, new partnerships in the NFT world, Liverpool FC, Major League Soccer, and WWE. Yep, that was a quick run through of the top 5 topics of the week. I have nothing else to add, but to wish you a good rest of the week. Next week, Ron should be back. I should be here. The usual format. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Thanks for the questions, and see you next week. Ciao.